When employees talk about feedback, they usually mention two kinds, positive and negative. When managers talk about feedback, they tactfully avoid the word negative and promise feedback that's constructive instead. These labels aren't all that useful because if you're on the receiving end, you don't need them. You know immediately if what you're hearing about yourself is positive or negative. But there's a better way of categorizing feedback. As a people manager, you want to distinguish three kinds: appreciation, coaching, and evaluation. I first learned to think about feedback this way from Harvard Law School lecturers Douglas Stone and Sheila Heen in their illuminating book, Thanks for the Feedback. Appreciation is what most of us call positive feedback, praise, or recognition. On the surface, appreciation is about the work. When you express appreciation, you're acknowledging how an employee's behaviors, efforts, and personal qualities benefit the work and the team. At a surface level, appreciation is about reinforcing a behavior. You tell Julia, "You were brilliant on that conference call this morning," and she'll try to repeat that performance on the next call. On a deeper level, appreciation is about the relationship. As Stone and Heen note, when you say, "You were brilliant on that conference call," you're also signaling, "Julia, I see you. You matter to me. You belong here." Coaching, in contrast, is feedback aimed at helping the other person adapt, pivot, learn, and grow. At its simplest, coaching is advice. Coaching is where you tell Scott, "At this part of the presentation, people were on the edge of their seats, but then you rushed your next point and lost that incredible momentum you'd built." At its most complex, coaching is transformation, where you work with Scott to identify when he flourishes now and how he can flourish more often. Some managers shy away from coaching because it sounds like too much work. But coaching can be as simple as checking in after a key meeting, contribution, or milestone, and asking 2 or 3 helpful questions. In the section on coaching, I'll equip you with those questions. What's important to realize is that coaching shouldn't be reserved for your favorite employees, for that promising new hire who reminds you of yourself 10 years ago. It's something you need to be doing for all of your employees. Evaluation is feedback that lets the other person know where they stand. It might be a ranking, a rating, or a comparison to peers. When Nicole asks, "What can I do to improve?" and you say, "You land 1 new client about every 3 days," and that's fine, but some people on this team land 3 clients a day. You're offering an evaluation. Sometimes the evaluation is very concrete. Perhaps you have to rate every employee on a scale of 1 to 5. And sometimes the evaluation is rather fuzzy. One salesperson I interviewed in the gourmet food industry, Lily, said that in her last performance review, her manager described her as one of the least problematic employees. Not exactly a high compliment, but it did signal where she stood and what he valued. Many large organizations are moving away from numeric ratings, but that doesn't mean they're moving away from evaluations. Even if you're no longer assigning a score, you're probably still assessing your employee's work against some metric. If Ryan has a role where he's expected to work independently, but his coworkers complain that he's always emailing them, bugging them for help, then you'll be noting that working independently is an area where Ryan needs to improve. You may not evaluate employees the same way you did 5 years ago, but you still evaluate. When you're busy, it can be easy to focus on just 1 or 2 kinds of feedback for each person on your team and skip the rest. Indeed, a single feedback conversation might focus on just appreciation or just coaching, but every employee needs all 3 kinds, stress, Stone, and Heen. You might be thinking, but if someone is doing excellent work, do they really need all 3? They do. Appreciation, coaching, and evaluation serve very different needs for the employee.